Captured on police body-worn video, the moment detectives arrest a serial sex offender.
Put your trousers on. So at this point in time, you're under arrest.
Luiz da Silva Neto drugged his male victims before raping or sexually assaulting them. 2 men reported their attacks to authorities, but police fear there may be many more of his victims still out there. Da Silva Neto would often look for men at night, especially those that had too much to drink. He filmed on his mobile phone as he went hunting them in public toilets. Da Silva Neto drugged both his victims in separate incidents inside this exclusive cottage here in the Oxfordshire village of Middle Barton. In one incident, he picked up his victim outside a nightclub in West London before driving him 73 miles here and raping him. That victim told police he was picked up outside this nightclub in Chelsea. He'd been looking for a taxi. All he could remember was drinking a small amount of liquid inside Da Silva Neto's car. Then waking up in the cottage sometime later, having been raped. In interviews in police custody, Da Silva Neto insisted the interaction had been fully consensual.
I was on the King's Road. I stopped to get some cash out, and I started talking to this guy as well. And he told me that he's been to the club, blah, blah. I was like, do you want to have a drink together or whatever? He was like, yeah. He's like, I'm married, but yeah.
Da Silva Neto's other victim knew his attacker when he says his trust was betrayed in the most appalling manner.
Basically, he drugged me and he used me. I don't want to go into details. I don't want to memorise it again. I don't want to relive it. For me, this is the worst experience I've ever survived or lived through. I'm heterosexual, I'm Catholic, I'm more religious, and something that I just need to digest.
Police say Da Silva Neto appears to have very deliberately targeted straight men, believing perhaps that they'd be too embarrassed to report their attack.
It is entirely possible that there are other offences out there and other victims who have not as yet been identified or identified themselves to us. So what I really want to do is encourage victims to come forward and have the confidence to do that. You know, a conviction of somebody for offences like this is quite often the platform from which other people will then have that confidence and feel empowered to come forward and feel safer to do so.
Authorities believe it's likely Da Silva Neto used the drug GHB. Only small amounts can render a victim unconscious. The gay serial killer Stephen Port used GHB on his 4 victims, young men who he killed with high doses of the drug, before dumping their bodies in this graveyard near his home in Barking in East London. GHB was also the weapon of choice for serial rapist Reynard Sinaga, a Manchester nurse who's believed to have raped more than 200 young men since 2005. Police say these events are thankfully very rare. Luiz da Silva Neto has now been convicted for the crimes he committed. Police are appealing for anyone else who believes they may have been drugged and assaulted by him to come forward. Mark White, GB News.